Well, my story starts Labor Day weekend. It was a beautiful, sunny day, perfect for a motorcycle ride. It was me, 2 other bikes, and the me, I had just turned 39, still lost, still running away from my family, still looking for the great big adventure. I was that person. When I was 19, I took a bus, a 22-hour bus ride across the country to the Grand Canyon to become a maid for the summer. I got fired, came back home. I went to Florida because spring break was so fun. I stayed there, I went there with a bicycle and $800. Came back home. I was looking for something. I was always searching for something. I was always just a little lost. Ended up in New York City, came back home. Ended up running with the bulls in Pamplona, Spain. Some pretty big adventures, yes. But there was something missing in here. And that had been true for a long time. So this day, Labor Day, I'm on a motorcycle. I've got my arms wrapped around this new boyfriend, my hair flowing in the wind, you know, my face up by the sky, looking at the sun. Of course, I had no helmet on, of course. We were roaring down country lanes on our way to, it was a rodeo bike ride I'd never been to, I don't know. It was a beautiful day, and the wind in my hair and the whole scene, the beauty of the green pastures and the fields and this just rushing, and I couldn't stop smiling. The thought came immediately, my older brother would say, "What are you, crazy?" Because that's what he would say. You know, he was more traditional. I was just wild, wandering out there. Anyway, we're riding for miles, beautiful day, I'm all in heaven. But then it happened. There was a white car right in front of us. The 2 bikes ahead of me swerved, but we didn't. We launched off the bike, we hit the car. All I remember is waking up on the gravel, my right cheek pressed into the pavement, my hips, my waist horribly twisted. Not 10 feet away, still on the pavement, or on the pavement too, was my boyfriend. His nose was split open completely. And the look on his face, he was petrified. I'm laying there, I couldn't move. I started to say, "Oh, you're okay, you're okay, you're okay," even though I didn't know if he was okay. We waited for the EMT, we couldn't do anything. And then the pain started. It came from the deep part in my belly, and I'd never experienced that much pain. The EMT shows up, and they take us to a small hospital in Chillicothe, Ohio. They had to cut off my jeans to get me into X-ray. My boyfriend was in another room. He had several injuries. And I didn't see him again for over 2 weeks, maybe longer. They had eventually taken him to UC Cincinnati Trauma Hospital, but they left me there because there wasn't a hospital that would take me. And I'm laying there and I'm in pain, and one of the nurses comes in and says, we're making phone calls, we're trying to find somewhere to take you. Eventually, I'm in an ambulance again, on my way to Columbus, the emergency room there. The pain, the bumpy highway, I'm all alone, just niggled at me. And the thoughts I had were, I can't burden my family with this. I can't tell them. We get to the hospital, and I wouldn't say who I was. I didn't tell them my name. They put me in a corner, in a bed, and they left me there. And I don't know how long I was there. I was on drugs. I was in pain. And time passed. It took a while, but all of a sudden in the distance, kind of in the corridor, I see my brother, emaciated, pale, sick, coming from that corridor up to the end of my bed. Vinny, my older brother, he says, "What'd you get yourself into this time?" A little smirk on his face. I started to cry, relief, shame. I said, "Vinny, I didn't want to tell you. I didn't want to tell Mom, Dad, Gina. I don't want anyone to know. I mean, you could have left me here." It was such a powerful moment. I ended up another ambulance ride down to UC Trauma Center. The doctor said, "You have to have back surgery." And the back surgery is a 6-hour, I don't know, they say invasive, they say all these big words. But I knew that I was going to get my belly button cut open all the way around to my back, and I wasn't really wanting that. I said, "Is there anything else?" No, of course there was nothing else. About Vinny, before I go on, about Vinny, about my family, I come from a very traditional family. My mother came off the boat from Italy. She was a steerage passenger, and if you don't know what that is, she was at the bottom of the boat. Took 2 weeks to get here. I come from family tradition. My brother he had a permanent seat at the head of the table, my dad at the other side of the table, and that was tradition. Men, firstborn son, he was like the king. I wasn't mad at him. He was wonderful. He was everybody's favorite. You know, good in sports, funny. He was the good one. But I didn't like where I fit in my family. I didn't like that. But I didn't know that, actually, until I finished this story. One more thing about Vinny. He ended up, and this was before the accident, he ended up at my parents' house after all the surgery. He had esophageal cancer, and he'd had it for 4.5 years. He was really sick. He was home with my family. My parents were caretaking him. Tons of surgeries, tons of radiation, tons of chemotherapy, and all he could do was stay home and watch TV and try to eat. That was my brother, and I'm off on my next adventure. I couldn't go and visit him as much as I would have liked to, because it was hard, it hurt, and I felt shame about that too. In the end, I did get the back surgery. I remember waking up in the hospital bed in my room. The sun was shining in this big, huge window I had, light flowing in. I was pain-free. It was the first time I'd been pain-free for more than almost 2 weeks. And there was something happened. I heard myself say, "I made it. I'm alive." And right then I knew I had never been grateful to be alive. I didn't know that that was something. I didn't know that I had value because I was alive. I didn't know. I didn't know that I could be loved by my family, even though I didn't really fit in. I wasn't the traditional daughter. I didn't know. I didn't know so much. I didn't know. In the end, my brother died 3.5 months later. And when he died, he was the one who wanted to live, not me. Not me. But what happened was, I took it on. I finally had a purpose. I had a reason to live. I was going to live for him. And I was going to live well. Thank you.